I've been on my own since I was 17, and learning how to handle money was not something that came easy to me. In this video, I'll share all the things I've tried along the way and all the money I've wasted. Let's go. My first year of college was something I will always remember. I was young, beautiful, and constantly broke. I did have a part-time gig with the college library, but I do very much remember that I didn't quite have enough money to cover all of my basic expenses. You know, like going out with my friends and such. So halfway through accounting 101 class, one day I decided that I needed a budget. We were using these notebook-like ledgers for the class, so I thought to myself, I could probably use a notebook for keeping track of my expenses too. Or better yet, loose leaf college rule paper that I had plenty of on hand at that time. So I had plenty of paper and plenty of pens. The whole setup cost me nothing, so I started right away. I kept track of my expenses for a day, and then the second day, and then the third. Before I knew it, I was able to complete a week, and then 2 weeks. I was so proud of myself. Wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do with all these notes at the end, but somehow I was convinced that if I was able to make it through the entire month of writing down my expenses, then my money will just magically fall into place. So I continued on. And that's when it happened. As I was finishing week 3, I somehow misplaced all of my notes for weeks 1 and 2. I looked everywhere and they were nowhere, and I was crushed and devastated. And that's when I decided that loose leaf paper doesn't work. So off to the Walmart I went. My initial plan was to buy one of those cheapy notebooks, the ones that sold for 10 cents each, you know. Solid cover, 70 sheets, the one that everybody uses. This one, right here. Give me a like button below if you use these bad boys for your schooling, because I've gone through many of these during my high school and college career. So anyhow, the plan was to buy one of these. So I made it to Walmart. I even made it into the aisle where these were sold, and lo and behold, the 10-cent price tag was only good during back to school sales apparently, and the rest of the year the price went up, like by a lot. And at the time I went, it cost like 50 cents each. So I thought to myself, I'm not paying 50 cents for this piece of crap. If I have to spend some real money on a notebook, then I better pick something that I like this one with flowers, because that looked like a much more of a budgeting notebook to me at a time. So I bought it. I spent $4.97 plus tax, 10 times as expensive as my initial plan, but I was happy. And you know what? It actually worked. The notebook did keep me excited and motivated for a little while. I was able to write down a month of my expenses in it, but at the end of the month, nothing happened, because I still didn't know what to do with all that information. So I quickly abandoned this plan and the pretty notebook along with it. My next try was a digital budgeting solution called Mint.com. It promised the ease of doing all the hard work for you by linking to your accounts, downloading the transactions, and then separating those transactions into categories. And it was free, so I quickly decided to give it a go. As promised, I was able to link up some of my accounts, not all. The transactions did get downloaded and they did get separated into these categories, but I felt overwhelmed with all the categories. And I didn't really feel any guidance or support in terms of improving my situation going forward. Plus, I still have to manually record all of the transactions for the accounts that I couldn't link to it. All in all, a couple months later, I decided to keep on looking. This was about the time when paper planners like Erin Condren were starting to gain popularity, and some of them even offered financial sections to help you get organized. I thought it was a great idea, so I ordered one. In full transparency here, I ordered the planner and the financial insert and a couple more inserts and some more supplies, because true to my logic, I needed to have a cute planner to help me stay motivated. So all in all, I spent $80 this time around. And it came, and it was a beautiful planner. It was bright and colorful and exciting, and the paper was of great quality, and even the budgeting section looked cute. The problem was the expense category it had listed only covered the basic of expenses like mortgage and car payment and utilities, And it really had no way of tracking the random expenses that we incur, like haircuts and clothing and going out to eat. So within a month or two, I knew that this planner will need some help if it were to get me to a bright and successful future I was dreaming about. So I went on YouTube and I found a solution. And it was, stickers! I mean, have you seen those things? Leave me a comment below if you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, leave me a comment anyways. But let me tell you, apparently there were these people that could make these various stickers for these planners, and they sold them to you as a sheet or a set or multiple sets on Etsy. So I went on Etsy, and $50 later, I had multiple sets of stickers coming my way. For those of you wondering, it's been over 5 years now, and I still have some of these stickers unused. Enough said, plus $50 to a total over here. As time went on, my finances were getting more and more complicated. I got married, I started a family, and I was realizing that keeping track of my finances on paper was, number one, getting harder and harder to do, and number two, wasn't really giving me a sense of control that I was looking for. So I decided to return to electronic methods. By that time, I wasn't a broke college student anymore, thank goodness. I did have an early but promising career in retail banking at that time, and I decided that I could spend some money this time to get me the results that I wanted. So I shopped around and did some research, and the solution I decided on was called Quicken Home and Business Edition. This software sells for about $90 and is a better running, more user-friendly version of Mint.com website that I was using in my earlier years. Overall, I thought it was a good platform, and it did give me a good understanding of what my money was doing at any given time. However, even though I've now felt a pretty good grip on my money, this software still offered me very little in terms of advice of what to do next to continue improving my situation. And that's when I realized that I actually probably need a person to take a look at my finances and give me their professional opinion and advice as far as where to go with that, a financial advisor. I soon did meet such a person, a Charles Schwab rep who promised to review my finances for free. Can you believe my luck at that point? Well, needless to say, I didn't know that at the time, but I learned pretty quickly that all this guy's free advice was geared towards selling me financial products and services that that company offered. So everything he said, I had to take with a grain of salt. I wasn't sure where to go to next, but a new and exciting opportunity soon presented itself in the form of an online personal finance class offered by a local university. The class lasted an entire semester and covered everything personal finance. I thought I didn't have anything to lose, so I registered. The tuition was $350 and the book was another $100. I did spend the entire 15 weeks learning all kinds of great information, and I'm truly grateful that I did take the class. But the struggle I had was distinguishing between the information that applied to me at the time and information that didn't. As part of the class, I did learn, however, that there were two types of financial advisors out there. Those that worked for financial companies and insurance companies, like the guy I talked to before, and those who didn't. The independent financial advisors would accept a fee from you to review your situation in exchange for their professional and independent and objective opinion and advice. Needless to say, I really wanted to meet one of those guys now. And I did. So we sat down and talked, and he asked questions about things that were important to our family and what our current budget looked like. Lucky for him, I had all my notes from all the years before, so I could tell him exactly where our money was going. So he took that, he worked his magic, and he refocused our budget around the things that we identified as important. At that point, for the first time in my life, I had a budget that not only told me where my money was going, but also gave me a sense that my money was working for me, and it was very special. The price of the service, $750. Yikes, I know. And the truth is, I probably could even justify the $750 price tag if our lives never changed and our circumstances and preferences stayed the same. But the reality is, they're not. Me and myself experienced a lot of changes in this life. I got married, I had a child, decided to be a stay-at-home mom, decided to return to work after a couple years, had to change my career field, got divorced, relocated, got sick, started a business, sold a business, and got remarried. If I had to pay someone $750 to adjust my budget every time something changed in my life, I'd be at thousands of dollars. So I wised up, and I learned to use all this collective experience of mine to adjust my own budget and account for my own changing circumstances and to refocus on my own priorities. And yes, it took me 10 years and $1,300 to get here, but I got really good at it. And more than that, it became a passion of mine. So if you want to share any benefit of my knowledge without having to spend your own time and your own money, then subscribe to this channel where I share everything family finances. This was Alona, and I'll see you in my next video.